Hey everyone, Chris Mack presents coming at you today with Alpha Flight issue 11. And I wish that I would have gotten into this series when I was younger, but c'est la vie. As I've said in many reviews, it was hard growing up because there wasn't a comic shop that would survive more than 6 months at a time. And the only really way that I only got to know most of this stuff was through Wizard Magazine, which I still absolutely miss. But c'est la vie. We are going over this. And one thing I miss on the trade dressing on the old books is I forget what this was called, but just that little artwork in the corner. I know a lot of modern books try to bring this back, but there's just something missing. It's like, I guess for me, why, modern time, it's just like member berries. Like member, when they used to do this, where it was just special. I wish they would have never gotten rid of it. It just was something special. And it just, yeah. Anyway, that said, absolutely great way of foreshadowing the book on this cover with all the silhouettes. And the print date on this was June 1984. Now, from what I understand, this particular issue is the first full appearance of Box, as well as another character that we will get into in a moment. Now, Box is being recruited. Excuse me. Too much coffee today, I guess. And this lady, Courtney, is going around recruiting all these people, and Box is the only one who seems that something is amiss and is trying to get hold of James so that he could tell him that there's something going on. And I like the little bit of foreshadowing where it goes, it looks like it's going to be up to us, old friend. So we kind of get this silhouette version of the Box uniform. Just a great way. And then we transition over to Ottawa. Now, I know this seems a little bit wordy, but one thing I like about John Byrne's older stuff is because he worked with Claremont, this feels like you're reading a Claremont book. And I know a lot of people say, well, he was really wordy, but yes, but he set the tone. And John Byrne did the same thing with Alpha Flight. So listen to this. 48 hours and some 800 miles to the south and east, the city of Ottawa was chosen by Queen Victoria as the capital of the newest nation of her Commonwealth. Not a great traveler, the Dowager Empress had not visited the site before making the decision. She knew nothing of the climate in the Ottawa Valley. Perhaps she liked the name. Winter descends heavily across the home of Parliament, as for 6 months out of every year, the city does its best to vanish under a deepening, frozen blanket. To those familiar with the more forgiving winters of southern Alberta, the change can be hard. Take, for instance, the tenants of the upper floors of number 138 Laurier Drive. Now look at that. Great transition. We get a little bit of history in the book, and we go to find out that Heather and James are moving to New York. And so she's thinking of all the different things that's happened in this particular apartment, from the falling out of Alpha Flight to the rebuilding of it, to Wolverine making amends after Guardian tried to forcibly recruit him back into Alpha Flight. And it says, memories stir, dust notes floating in a sunbeam, dancing, swirling, random. You feel the mood. And then all these little thoughts she's having, where it says, Logan, you're not here to fight back, are you? I came here to make peace, Heather, if I can. And then the last one, where issue 1 of Alpha Flight picked up, where it says, yes, an announcement to wit, we all work well together. So government or no, we've decided to stay together. And then Puck said this, I believe it was at the issue end of Alpha Flight number 1. New name, hey, I busted my buns to be an Alpha Flight. I want to be an Alpha Flight. And so kind of putting her past behind her, Heather says, okay, lady, time you are on your way. And it's just a good little way to show that this is a new chapter in Heather and James Hudson's life. And then what's kind of neat is that I know this came out in 84, and then they did that sort of prequel book, the Alpha Flight First Flight or whatever it was that we went over. But I'll talk about that here in a second. We finally figure out who this Courtney is, all the characters that are in play. Now, the other character that I was saying that was the first full appearance is Kyle Gibney, Wild Child. Does that name ring a bell? I didn't know who that was when I was younger. The only way that I knew Kyle was from the Age of Apocalypse, who ran with Sabretooth. So this was his first Earth 616 appearance. And you can see how he's very much akin to both Logan and Wolverine. He is the brawler of the group. Now, why was I talking about that Alpha Flight, first flight book, or first class, I think it was? Anyway, it's because Smart Alec, he was in that book and how he was part of the flight before it was Alpha Flight. So here, this underground group that's being trained is called Gamma Flight. So all these characters are familiar with the original Alpha Flight, and that's what they would call the different letters. Build up, you start in Gamma, and then you'd be Beta Flight, and then Alpha Flight, which was the top tier, like Shaman and Snowbird, etc., so forth. So these characters all have a bit of a chip on their shoulder that they never got to make it up the ranks. And so you find who the Nemesis is all. You all have a basic idea of the project, which I've conceived, and I can only assume you all agree with, or you would not be here now. We all of us been given a glimpse of the gold at the rainbow's end, only to have that treasure snapped from us directly or indirectly due to the actions of one man, James McDonald Hudson. That is what we gathered here for, that we may crush his dreams as he has crushed ours. I propose nothing less than the utter destruction of Alpha Flight. Now that we learned the stakes, James Mac is given the ultimatum of how he can save a particular person that is in peril. So he goes to take on and save the person he loves, but is met with this Gamma Flight. And that's where the issue ends. You're like, damn, I want more. I can't wait to read issue 12 because apparently something big happens in issue 12 that I'm hoping to grab a copy here soon. Then we get a backstory talking about the first introduction of Sasquatch. And you come to find out that, why do I always forget this guy's name? Give me a minute here. My brain's just Walter Langowski, I believe is how you pronounce it. You come to find out that he went to school with Bruce Banner and what happened to him becoming the Hulk. So basically what Walter wants to do is kind of recreate the experiment becoming rich and wanting to use his science in a way that could be a controlled Hulk. And the artwork, again, just absolutely spectacular. Great Jack Kirbyisms, like here, where you see him transforming for the first time and becoming the mammoth Sasquatch, and how he's unable to control himself and has to use Snowbird as a way to finally learn how to control the beast within. It's an epic read. Highly recommended if you're a fan of Alpha Flight, like I am. Even if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is to get your action figures and comics. And if you've enjoyed this review, I really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little flight bell next to subscribe, that way we can continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or the social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.